on Skype.
Welcome
We're
to Be
on
More News.
Rocket C3, and if you will send me a note at Rocket C3 on Skype, you can see the Donnie Glover Show live in studio while Donnie's doing his thing. He's trying to videotape me right now, so I don't understand. Donnie always is trying to do multiple things, but so if you want to do that. But always great to be here with you this morning, and I'm glad that we were all here at this point.
Oh, Charles, you trying to be out. And look, I heard you on the interview yesterday. Well, we had to talk about your PR man is going to have to step up. Anyway, tell them what you're doing. Tell them who you are.
Well, first and foremost, I am the regional director for the National Association of Black Journalists. I represent black journalists in the Mid-Atlantic region from Maryland, Virginia, D.C., and Delaware. In addition to that, I am running for the national president of the National Association of Black Journalists. And my campaign is real simple. It's called CAV. It's credibility. I know this, y'all got me early up in the morning. I have to
take your time.
Credibility, authenticity, and vision. Sorry about that. As I like to say, it's one of those kind of things where what we try and do is I'm trying to give folks a roadmap as to where we should go in our business. Donnie and I have always had these kind of conversations where, you know, it's important that young people see people like us in the business. And in addition to see us, they read us, they hear us. We're in places and spaces they don't expect us to be. And at the end of the day, the whole idea is that there will be some young person that you will touch that you will never, ever know.
Okay, well, I want you to do a quick triage. This young lady right here, tell them what you do, Saraya. Tell them all about it.
I write a football blog, and I'm very well aware of your corporation. I thought about joining as well, but
let me suggest you do that.
I am. But tell everyone if they're listening, any young journalists, exactly what benefits that you get from joining this corporation.
Well, it's not a corporation.
I'm sorry, the organization. I
it is. We are incorporated, so we are technically a corporation. But the main thing is context. No one in this business gets a job because they saw it advertised in the newspaper.
And I got to interject here. Yesterday, you ran down a list of people I didn't even know you had hung out with.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Now, I know you and Bo Obama hung out a little bit.
Yes. I met
That's
Barack
the Portuguese
Obama
water dog.
long before. But, you know, some of my early experiences included meeting a guy by the name of Nelson Mandela.
You said you met Nelson Mandela with a New York Yankees jacket on.
Yes, that was one of the more stranger things that has ever happened to me. I happened to cover him when he first came to the United States. I actually won an award for all of that coverage, by the way, and that was bestowed on me by the National Association of Black Journalists. But I've had an opportunity to meet a young man in 1986 while I'm at the Republican Convention in San Diego by a guy by the name of Michael Steele. And most people didn't know who he was and what he was all about. And I spent several days with him, and I began to write about that. You and I were joking in the hallway earlier about, she says, well, I write one blog. I told her, I write two. Not that that makes a big deal of difference. But I was kind of like at the beginning of the black blogger phase. In 2004, I began a blog called Charles Black Politics Blog. And it's all about black politics in America. And the whole idea behind that blog was I'm one of like about 5 reporters who traditionally go to both Republican and Democratic conventions. Not because there was somebody black running or somebody of particularly, that's what I do. And when I finished in 2004, I decided to create this blog because I had an email list that was like 75 people, and people kept calling, put me on your list. And so a friend of mine suggested that I start a blog. And in that blog, I wrote 2 seminal blogs. The first one is Presidential Perspective 1 and Presidential Perspective 2. You can go back and see it. It's in August of 2004. And Presidential Perspective 1 was, I came to the simple conclusion that this should be the last time that a person of color, a serious person of color, should not run for President of the United States. So I began to put forth all kinds of names of people who I've met over my many years of being a journalist. And I sent it to my editor, and Donnie will tell you that I always need a great editor because I'll just throw stuff on a piece of paper.
No comment.
And the whole idea was that I just put names out there. So my editor came back and said, you can't do that. And I said, I can do anything I want. She says, no, you can't. So we had an argument back and forth. So I said, tell you what, I'm going to create a new one. And then this next one was called Presidential Perspective 2. And the real short answer to Presidential Perspective 2 was I put together composites of people who I thought should run. So the first composite I put together was Reverend Miss Lord Have Mercy. Now, this is a composite of a person. Reverend Miss Lord Have Mercy owns a huge church in Detroit. She has shunned the televangelistic route. She knows T.D. Jakes on a personal basis. Some of her parishioners include Aretha Franklin and Anita Baker.
And she know Reverend Hoopenholler and
well,
Deacon Cornbread.
And all of them.
Charles, you ain't taking over my show. I saw you do it yesterday.
No,
you are not doing
no,
it today.
last but not least, she knows Pookie.
See? All right. Let me bring one of your colleagues in. You know this gentleman over here?
I've seen his face, but I can't place his name at this point. But
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Donnie. How are you?
Let me give you a little airtime. There you go. Good morning again.
Good morning, Donnie. How are you?
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Harold Haley, and I own Haley Media Consulting Services and Associates.
Okay. And
Okay.
why don't you stop playing? You been to the White House before, man?
I've been in the White House for 31 years, Donnie.
How many times you been to the White House?
About 6. So you work for American Urban.
No, I worked for NBC News during the time.
That's why I know you,
Yeah.
because someone sent me a picture of you. I apologize.
You know what the big
Not a
tomato
problem.
said? You know what the big tomato said to the little tomato?
Shut up.
Catch up.
Yeah, I worked for NBC News for 31 years. I took early retirement.
You see that microphone?
Yeah, I know,
It
Donnie.
has
You know,
a-
I should know this.
It kind of
Yeah.
has a purpose.
Okay. All right, but I worked for NBC for 31 years, and most of the time was spent with every president since Gerald Ford up to George Bush Jr. Not a party affiliation. It was totally independent. That was my assignment.
Okay.
And I own Haley. I retired and tramped around the world for about 18 months and came back and said I need to find something to do. So opened up Haley Media's Consulting and Associates. And actually, I'm wearing 2 hats. And if I don't say this, I'm
Well, you can hold that. I got you. Hold that. You can see.